it's Thad with Willoway. We're right after Mother's Day, so I want to talk a little bit about that impact on everybody. We had a fairly decent weekend with weather, so that was great. Hopefully everybody had great sales out there and moved a lot of material. A couple things we're going to talk a little bit about. Some of the things we've kind of shifted now into like a summer canning, getting things ready. So a lot of material kind of ready for the summer and into the fall sale stuff. Buddleia. This is Buddleia Pinker. This is an interesting one out of the series. This one early season in the cold. It exhibits yellowing in the leaves and kind of a narrowing. That's actually a nutrient deficiency that this one is especially sensitive to in the Proven Winner series. We come in with manganese and do a little treatment. It generally brings them out, but once we get into kind of this May, warmer weather, longer days, it goes away. It just exhibits real early season in the cool in some of our forced ones. But one of the things I wanted to talk about is getting ready for fall. This is more known to late summer into fall blooming and just never stops once you get into these all the Buddleia. But we're going to do here is we're getting ready to take the sides and make this house into a high tunnel. So what a high tunnel for us is we have boards on the side. We have vents right now, but we have boards that will go in these houses, and then we'll take and cut the bottom half off just above. We'll add boards in here, and we'll staple lath onto the outside, and we'll cut the plastic below here and leave the sides open. That lets good airflow and good air circulation, which Buddleia need, so they don't get diseases like such as powdery mildew, downy mildew, are somewhat prevalent in all the Buddleia. So what that does helps us get the air circulation, but we also control the water that comes down from rain. So we're actually going into coming up like over the weekend here in Avon. We're supposed to have some rainy weather, and what that's going to do is help us control the moisture on the leaves and the foliage to control the diseases. Also, we're coming into doing new canning for Buddleia. So our new canning is very susceptible to some root rots and stuff if they stay wet for too long when they're very juvenile. So we want to control the water again to help manage diseases on them and get them established in the pots as quickly as possible. Thad with Willoway again. Here we're after Mother's Day. I want to talk a little bit about perennials. It's kind of hot. There's a lot of varieties out there. We're expanding our perennial production. As you can see behind me, we've got lots of different perennials and bays. This winter we did a big program in here. We put booms in all these houses. So we put 8 additional booms so we can control the water a little bit better, more even water, makes a healthier plant. And you can see like in the leucanthemum, real even. That's what we're looking for, is this real even stage. These are just coming into bloom. Look real nice. We've got some salvia back up there. All kinds of different crops run through this area at different stages. So some other things I want to talk about is growing degree days. We're at 510 here in Avon. So what that means is we're getting into the stage where there's a lot of stuff happening. We just passed some scales. So oyster shell scale, first hatch just happened like just before 500 growing degree days. So we want to get out on that if you haven't yet. Some things coming up. There's quite a bit of things with white fringe tree is an indicator plant for right now. At 550, we got black locust as a good indicator in bloom. So why 550? Well, 550, there's a couple things that happen. At 568, potato leafhopper happens, but we also at 550 have emerald ash borer emergence, and some other borers are there. So real important timing to be watching for that, and then be timely with your application and be scouting for this stuff. If you're in plastic or inside, it's going to be a little skewed. You're going to have to watch what you're doing. You're going to be running ahead of what those degree days are. Hi, it's Thad with Willoway. Here again right after Mother's Day. We still have a really nice crop, Hydrangea macrophylla. We grow some of our plants are pushed along to be in color Mother's Day, but really what I like to see out of it is something like this in the Summer Crush, which is one of my favorite pinks out there. Real easy grower, nice dark foliage, real stiff stems, holds up really well. As you can see, really nice, upright, doesn't get that flopping easily. Got lots of buds on it, and we're just at that stage where they're coming along, so there's tons and tons of time left on these. We grow a lot of different varieties. They all act a slight bit differently. Bloomstruck's one of the slower ones to come on, so sometimes we'll often put a little bit more heat in the earlier spring to get those to come forward. Endless Summer is kind of what I call the most aggressive one. It grows the fastest. There we have to use some PGRs to actually slow it down. It wants to just get big and huge right away. Then you've got Popstar, which is kind of like a dwarf version of Endless Summer. We have a whole new series from Proven Winners. So there's the Can Do series, there's AHA, Skyview. So there's tons of different colors in there. One of the important things too is to know if it's can go blue or pink. So the ones that turn blue can also be pink based on how much aluminum gets in the bud. So we apply aluminum sulfate in the fall, and then we do it again in the spring. If you don't choose not to put the aluminum sulfate on one that's traditionally blue, like Endless Summer, it'll come out to be a pink. Summer Crush, you can't really make it go to blue. It's pretty much wants to be pink. You can apply aluminum sulfate to it, but it will just dull down the pinkness in it. So real important to kind of know that if you're going into it and want a pink or a blue. Pinks are a little bit easier, more natural. I have Summer Crush at my house, and they just do real well without having to do a lot of maintenance. It's an easy grower. Just cut it back in the spring a little bit, and it pops right up and goes. So that's a little bit about hydrangea. We do a forced program, or not a forced program, but an early. We stage our crops out. I've talked about that in some other videos. We just move some to the cooler to hold them a little bit longer, so we can get a couple extra weeks of like life on things. So, all right, we've come out to a different location. I want to talk about the plant looking really good right now, and a little bit about it from a growing aspect. It's the Deutzia. We got Snowflake and Cherry from the Proven Winner series. Really nice, really full blooms right now. Just a really great plant. For us here at Willoway, we don't really need to grow established plants in heat. We do tent these in the winter, and we are a little sensitive in the spring and coming up. They do not want to take a cold hit. If they do, they kind of stall out and they don't really want to get going. So, but you can see we kept under plastic for a while, and they're looking gorgeous right now. Really nice, easy care plant. We've done a little bit of shaping in them just to kind of get them looking good, but easy to maintain and go. So it's a great plant if you're looking for a little color here this time of year and extending on. This is a plant you should consider, the Deutzia Yuki series.